Hey there guys, and welcome to Naked Reality, a podcast all about stripping bare mental health. We're going to hear from people all over the world sharing their stories, their experiences and their journeys with what they've been through in their life. But now it's time to get naked with our next guest. During all of our episodes in this podcast, we do cover sensitive topics. So if you or anyone you know is suffering with anything that we discuss, please listen to the end of the episodes where we can find contact details for us or support lines to help with you with what you are going through. Just make a noise in your microphone. Yeah, beautiful. So we're recording, but obviously I'm going to chop off. Like, so when we start the episode, I'm just going to go 3, 2, 1, and I'll start talking and introduce and blah, 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 blah. Okay. And at the end, we'll just do like a nice goodbye, yeah, hoo-hoo, ta-da.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. All right, ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, and welcome back to...
Oh, yeah, that's going to be noise. Yeah.
It might get a little bit hot in here.
That's good. It's 35 today.
Yeah. Ouch. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and welcome back to another episode of Naked Reality. And it is my pleasure to introduce my good friend Suhani into the studio today. Welcome, Suhani. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, Joey. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's
I said Joey.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry.
I meant Joe.
When I have these face-to-face conversations, what usually generally happens is we get into the studio, we sit down, we have a good chit-chat, and then we realize after maybe about 20 minutes or half an hour of having a chit-chat that we probably should be recording about what the stuff. So me and Suhani have been having a nice chat before we jumped on. About lots of great things, but we've got some incredible stuff to talk about today, which is really cool. I know you want to share a little bit about what you do for your work and your business with clients, and I know you've got a beautiful story to share about what you've been through in life as well, which is it's great to have you here, and it's I feel really, how do we put it, blessed to have you into the studio to be hearing this story and to be able to share it with the world.
Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure. And you know my story. Like, I think you're the first people where I actually opened up my true story. And you have this beautiful presence, this aura, this heart about you where people feel really safe to open up. So, and this is my first podcast face to face as well. So it's really exciting.
Yeah. Well, it's, like with these things and like, I know the microphone's like stuck right in front of your face at the moment, but I promise you within about 5 minutes, you won't even notice it's there. I'll literally, like, it happens all the time. I usually have to guide people to come back towards the mic because they're talking and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, don't feel pressured at all. Like, this is, we're going to have a fun time. We're going to have a great conversation and we're going to learn a lot about each other, I do believe.
Absolutely.
So, I remember we first met at... I think it was a Speakers Tribe event, right? Here
Absolutely.
in Perth. Yeah. We got talking. I shared a little bit about what I do. You shared a little bit about what you do. And I think that's what you were talking about where you first felt the confidence to open up and start talking to me.
Yeah. I think, it was... I'd experienced that size says it all. Yeah. Well, I'd experienced... I was in a bad place for quite some time in terms of my state of mind because of what I'd experienced at work and very low confidence. I didn't know who I am, what I want, and what do I do next. I felt really stuck and lost and quite powerless at that point of time. And I was just looking for opportunities and I just wanted to learn and find out how do I get rid of this for myself. First, I started off with, I want to help other people who've experienced this. But then when I started searching, I realized that I needed help more than anyone else, you know?
Yeah.
So I started my journey with coaching, studying coaching. And then Speakers Institute, I joined Speakers Institute. I think that reminds me, actually, I'd just done my boot camp.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and I came in and I was meeting everyone, and that was the first time. And you were like, "Oh, I missed the boot camp," kind of thing. And that was powerful. Like sharing my truth on the boot camp was, I think it was a good release and a healing feeling.
Yeah.
Sorry,
my phone's just going off. So this is the unprofessionalism. Turn my phone off.
That's all right. So, yeah, and like being validated by a group of people, listening to my story and, me sharing my story and getting validated by a group of people who really saw me and who were going through their own hardships and journeys, and we just formed this beautiful group after that boot camp. And I think after that we met each other.
Yeah, I think it was literally 3 days after the boot camp. Yeah, I remember that day quite well, because the guys were talking about it and speaking about how powerful it was. I've finally got my spot, which is really cool, in May.
Oh, fantastic. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. A little bit nervous. I don't know why yet, because I've already done plenty of speaking, but I guess it's just, maybe it's, one of my good friends tells me is like, Maddie, I had him here on the podcast a few episodes ago. He was saying, like, when you feel nervous and you feel anxious, just remember that, everything comes with a duality. So if you're feeling nerves and feeling anxious, it also comes with its polar opposite. So if you understand that duality that exists, it means that you can transform that energy in your body. So you can transform anxiety or nervousness into excitement and positivity.
Absolutely.
Which is pretty cool.
Because in your body, you actually feel the same when you're nervous, when you feel fearful, or when you feel joy. Yeah.
I think it's a good lesson for a lot of people to have out there to acknowledge, is that we all go through stages of anxiety, right? We all go through stages where we're nervous and we feel stressed, or we're, things don't seem like you're not looking forward to them. You get that horrible tightness or that gurgling feeling in your guts, and it's a real thing. It is a real thing, but having that understanding of duality, realizing that, well, if that exists, then the polar opposite also exists. So it's up to you to be able to transform the thoughts that relate to that. So, for example, if you're thinking, "Oh my God, am I going to be, am I going to be worthy? Am I the right doing this? Am I going to play well? Am I going to do this thing well that I'm doing? What are people going to look at me?" And if you're having these thoughts that relate to this feeling, then that feeling is going to increase and intensify. But if you can catch yourself for that one little moment and say, "Hold on, what kind of story, what message am I really trying to send to myself here?" And it's like, you know what? If I'm going to go and play a game of basketball, or, and I'm feeling anxious and nervous about it, that's okay. It's normal. But if I can feel anxious and nervous about it, it means I can also feel excited about it.
Yeah.
And it's just that message of, like, you're going to go out there and play and have fun. If you change that narrative, you can change the way you feel about it.
So well said. So well articulated, Joey.
Well, thank you.
No, it's the story we tell ourselves. When you change that story, that's where the game is. That's one of the places when I had a shift in my life, because there were lots of stories I was telling myself in my head, which was not serving me in the past. Even on, like, when you were sharing all of this, I remember standing on the stage and sharing my message. I was sweating profusely, right? And my gut was so tight. I could feel the tightness. And there were coaches there. They were like, "You're going to rock this. You're going to nail this. You've got this." And they're doing all sorts of techniques with me. And I'm thinking in my head, just leave me alone. I don't want to go on that stage. And then when I went on that stage, I was shaking. because it's a real life story. It's my experience of my life, how I felt, what happened with me, and sharing, being vulnerable and sharing my truth. That takes a lot of courage to do.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And I was so nervous to get on that stage. And when I did, towards the end, I remember Fran coming up on stage and validating me. And she said, "You're not going to be a coach just here. You're going to be global. You're going to help people globally." And when she said all those beautiful words, oh my God, I had tears of gratitude rolled down my eyes. And I was just so grateful for that moment, for that support. So that's why I say proximity is power. Having people who understand you, who get you, who propel you, who see the greatness and the mess in you and love you for that has been the game changer for me. One of the main reasons I've come out in the open and shared my truth with people.
Yeah. It's like the old Einstein comment is like, if you spend years trying to teach a goldfish how to climb a tree, he's going to spend his whole life feeling like he's stupid. Because it's like, if you're surrounded in an environment that's trying to teach you to something or to try and bring you down or make you feel like you're not good at something, then you're going to spend your life continually in that way. So it's like, if you're in the opposite, you're with people that are you're surrounded in a safe space and supportive, it's not going to be this mad supreme change where all of a sudden you're going to be like, I'm free. But you're going to gradually start to create a security with yourself. You're going to start to take ownership of this thing. The more you talk about it, the more you feel safe, the more you feel supported and loved, and you realize how powerful what you have really is. If you've got people around you like that, you're going to start to feel great. You're going to start to feel empowered.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm so grateful for that. You're one of those people.
Well,
so thank you,
Joe.
Joe.
Well, as our good friend Nate says, blessed to be a blessing.
Yeah, Nate. That's right. That actually reminds me, you said it so wisely and so right. I always believed that. Let me take a step back.
Yeah,
so
sure.
When I was growing up, my family, I was born and brought up in India, in southern part of India, Bangalore.
Okay.
And when I was growing up, like everyone is either an engineer, doctor, or lawyer or something like that, right? And I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to have fun at that point of time. And when I didn't get into my engineering, I think there was a disappointment in my family, and even I was quite disappointed. I chose to, I was disappointed just because of peer pressure. Mind you, it didn't bother me in reality. And then I did my bachelor's in computer science. I didn't enjoy computer science much, but I loved the company, my friends. And I always had that regret that I could have done differently. I could have done better, And I used to compare myself with my friends I grew up with, my cousins, that look how successful they are, because everything was measured against success. And for me, success was achievement, external success. That was the only definition of success I knew. And I used to see my cousins and the rest of them doing really well in their careers. And my dream was to be a CEO or something like that of a company. I didn't even know what it was, right? Yeah. But I just want to be somewhere running a company or be a CEO. What field? No idea. Just that. That was in my mind. And when I moved to Australia, I I got a job. I did recruitment, and then I was with a mining software company. And over there, in the beginning, things were like fantastic.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, mining software, that's where the money is. Yay. And then, like, it was different culture, and I tried hard to fit in.
Yeah.
That's another thing we do as humans, try to fit in.
Yeah, 100%.
When we're actually born to stand out.
Yeah.
And I tried to fit into the culture, and then I got pregnant. I had my gorgeous, gorgeous daughter. I started working from home. I got that opportunity with that company, so which I'm very grateful for. And I just felt stuck in that career for 6-7 years doing the same thing, mate. But I didn't have the courage to look outside, or like I did look outside, but I just didn't know what I wanted. And I just wanted to grow in that company. I thought that would give me that happiness or that peace or that sense of achievement.
What was sort of showing up for you for day to day? Like, you know, how are you acting, and you know, what were your sort of feelings like day to day? Obviously, being in that place that, you know, there's an intellectual desire, right, to want to achieve.
Yeah.
But there's also this inner sort of feeling that's saying, you know, there's this like it's a tightness, right?
Oh my God, I used to feel sick. In the beginning, like things were great. You know, it was working really well. Mom working from home, I get that opportunity. All of that was great. But then I knew from the beginning, not from the beginning, but after some time, I knew this is not what I wanted to do. Because I love helping people. I'm good with people. And I was doing a process kind of job. And I knew I didn't want to do that. And I kept telling to myself, this is not what I want to do. But I never ever thought, what do I truly want to do? That's when what I felt towards the end was I felt like I was boxed in this carton and I just couldn't break free. Like, that's how I felt in my mind's eye.
Yeah.
I felt so stuck, miserable. I didn't want to do that, but then I was too scared to leave that job because I have that income and we have bills to pay, and I have dreams for my daughter and for us as a family, and I just didn't know what to do. But I really, really wanted to leave it. I didn't know how. And that's when I started. The first step I did actually went to a career counselor.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And the career counselor said most of the things I already knew, but it was confirmed by her. And she said, you would make a great life coach. And I'm like, what is life coach? Right? Yeah. What is coaching? First, I thought I want to get into psychology, do a psychology or counseling degree. Because I felt I could really see people. I'm a highly sensitive empath. I didn't know back then.
Yeah.
So I could feel their feelings and I could see them. I could see their pain and all of that. And I wanted to help them. And I thought, why not do a counseling degree? Probably that'll help. And lots of people were like, oh, that's going to be draining. Are you going to be able to handle it? People sharing their stories about, you know, how they feel and so emotional, and it's not an easy job to do. I didn't even know what counseling was. I've heard of it and read about it, but day-to-day life. And I said, oh, maybe it's not good for me. That was the first thought, because every single time I've taken a step in my early days, it's based on what other people say, my surroundings, like, you know, my family, my partner, my husband, my partner, husband, same.
Yeah.
My cousins, my parents, etc. So I'm lost. What was I saying?
You were talking about going into looking at doing a degree in counselling and then deciding not to go through with it.
So that's when there was what do you call it? A seminar that came up, a workshop. What do you call it? The face-to-face, like a
seminar.
Something like
seminar, workshop, that sort of thing.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So I went to one of those, and there I saw my mentor talking to this woman who was really, she walked into the room and she had her shoulder all down, really low self-esteem, and she was very unhappy. He sat in front of her, like how we're sitting in front of each other.
Yeah.
She sat in front of him, and he asked her a few questions. He did a few tricks. I don't know what he did. And within 20 minutes, she had the biggest and the most gorgeous smile, and she walked out of that room. I didn't know what he did. I thought it was magic back then. But then I said, I want to do that. And that's how I started my coaching journey, studying coaching, etc.
Yeah, wow. So what sort of stuff did you learn from this guy?
So he's Joe Pane. He's one of my mentors in the Coaching Institute. And he actually... there are lots of things I learned, but one thing which is really stuck into me, which is part of me now, which is part of my value, is gratitude. So I signed up for the course, and then we had our first face-to-face 3-day course. And he was sharing about how gratitude is one of his most important values. And he gave me lots of examples. And that night I got home and I got thinking, I have this amazing house, roof over my head. I have a caring husband. I have this gorgeous daughter. I have a job that's helping me pay my mortgage. I had my parents back. I think back then my father-in-law was with us, so he was helping us with lots of chores and things like that. I'm like, I don't have gratitude for anything. Not a single thing. I'm constantly complaining, whining and whinging about what I don't have. But not once have I thought, what do I actually have? What can I be grateful for in this moment? And that's when I decided I'm going to make that one of my values, and I live by it even now. And I'll tell you, it's just talking about gratitude or doing gratitude journal is not the game changer, but feeling it, feeling those feelings, embodying it, and, just feeling grateful in your heart and just thanking that person. Say, for example, right? Every single night I go home, before I go to bed, I think of 3 things. 1, a person who made me feel good that day.
Okay.
2, someone I'm trying to heal my relationship with, if something's triggered. And 3 could be any random person who's helped me. And I go and I literally say, thank you. For example, tonight, I would say something like, thank you so much, Joey. Why do I keep calling you Joey?
No, that's Joey. It's Joey. You'll be surprised the amount of people that call me Joel, and I just go, it's okay. We'll just roll with it.
Thank you so much, Joel.
Okay.
And, for holding this space for me.
Yeah.
And I feel it in every cell of my body when I say that. And I'm truly, truly grateful. And in that moment, I'm not thinking about my future or my past or my worries. I'm just being in the present moment and thanking someone else. And that has actually attracted more of abundance in my life.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you in any way, shape, or form on that. Like, gratitude it's a game changer. It really is. It's like, I mean, the way it works and the way I've come to understand it is, you know, there's this whole, I'm sure many people have read the book or watched the movie The Secret. You know, this is what it's basically talking about, but it's, I guess what they discuss in there just seems a little bit too far-fetched for the human mind to grasp hold of and say, oh, that's possible for me, you know. I'm going to write $1 million on a $1 bill and pin it to my ceiling, and all of a sudden I'm going to become a millionaire. It's like, well, no, you're not, really. There's a lot of stuff that has to come in between there, but it's not about that. And this is the thing with gratitude is the more you are aware of something around you, so the more you are thankful for something, the more your mind and your whole body will look for other things that are thankful. The best way to describe this is, have you ever bought a new car? You know, let's say you buy a Volkswagen Golf. You know, we're not advertising here, by the way. But let's say you buy a Volkswagen Golf and you drive along in your old car and you're driving down the road and you may see one here and there, or but you're not really paying attention. You know, you're driving down and you go, oh, you know, I like the look of that car. You know, this is nice. I wouldn't mind driving this. All of a sudden, you get your brand new Volkswagen Golf. You're driving down the road and they are frigging everywhere. Everybody seems to be driving a Volkswagen Golf now just because you've got one. And it's not because that's the literal fact. It's just because now you have this thing in your life, your mind is more aware of it, so it pays attention for it. So now that every time you see the Volkswagen logo or you see a car that looks similar to what you have, you're very aware. Your mind shows it to you. And that exactly the same thing works with gratitude. Is the more you give gratitude for things and you have gratitude for whatever you have in your life, whether it's the beautiful luxuries you have to the nice bright and shiny summer's day to the people you have in your life, it's irrelevant what you give thanks for, but it's the fact that you're giving gratitude, your mind and your body then becomes more aware of gratitude itself. So it looks and notices and helps you notice different things during the day of things to be thankful for.
Yeah.
So that person that lets you out or lets you into the next lane on the freeway or lets you out into the flow of traffic on the road, you might just normally just drive past this person and just like, yeah, whatever, it's just, you know, it's my duty, it's part of the way everybody does things and get to work. But once you have more gratitude, you go, huh, that was actually a nice thing for somebody to do.
Yeah, true.
And it's not a massive like effect in terms of just because you've had that one little bit of gratitude, your whole life's going to be different. But it's the fact that that little thing just lights you up enough to give the opportunity to look for that next little thing.
Yeah.
And then the next little thing, and the next little thing, and the next little... And then all of a sudden, it tails into being this place where you're now aware of beautiful things that happen to you in the world. And yes, there's a lot of other stuff that has to come around with it in terms of, you know, better overall mental health. But this is a way we can take control and really start to take ownership of our lives. And it's a beautiful thing, right?
Absolutely, it is. And it becomes a part of you. You don't even have to do it consciously. It comes, like, even when you're driving and someone cuts through you or something happens, you feel sorry. And, you know, thankfulness becomes a part of you. You don't have to, it becomes a habit. And the more you have it, the more you attract it.
Yeah, you sound like a very grateful person. But it's no coincidence that, you know, you adopted this attitude of gratitude, and all of a sudden life started to change for the better for you.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, you're moving into this beautiful path that you're doing with coaching, and we were talking a little bit off air about the inner child work that you do and helping people with rejection and abandonment issues and things like that from childhood. And not only do, you know, you've stepped into something that you enjoy, that's not what we're talking about here. This is something that lights you up so much that it just makes you glow in like such a beautiful way. Like, it's the only way I can describe it is like somebody that's been... Like, it's hard to, because we're not seeing each other's faces on the, you know, people are only listening. It's like people that work at a job that they like, but it doesn't empower them. There's a kind of demeanor that comes with that.
Yeah.
There's a kind of demeanor it's like a, yep, I'm just doing this to tick the boxes kind of thing. And it's just, they're not miserable or anything like that, but they're just like going along with life in just a normal way. Whereas when you find something like this for yourself, it just makes somebody stand out. Like it makes somebody, I don't know how to put this. It's just like it makes somebody stand out. Is the best word that I can come up with. It just makes someone go to such a point where it's like, wow, this person is. You can tell by the way they speak, the way they move, by the way they do things. But if you ask them a question about it, it's like they'll give you everything that they have to give about that question.
Yeah.
And it's not because they want to, I don't know, it's not about anything about trying to attract a client or anything about, it's no ulterior motive other than wanting to give, because that feeling they have from within them is just oozing.
Oh my God, you just nailed it. And I can see it lights you up too. I know how much what you do lights you up. So I can so relate. Yeah, we are a mirror for each other.
So obviously, with the work that you're trying to do, there's a lot of stuff about bullying in there that we've talked about. I know you've shared with me a little bit in the past. Like what I've found, and I've talked to quite a few coaches on the podcast so far. Obviously, when you're guided towards something in particular, like bullying, for example, it usually comes with a lot of personal experience.
Yeah.
So it's like, is that something that you want to talk about and open up and sharing about? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. So when I came to Australia, I'm not going to go into details because I'm a storyteller and I can go on and on and on, and I know we have limited time. So when I moved to Australia in the beginning, as I said, I tried hard to fit in. So I didn't struggle much to find my first job in recruitment. And it was a small boutique office, and this gorgeous lady who's built multiple businesses in the past and had started from scratch again. And I wanted to learn from her. I wanted to, I was like really excited she's going to be my mentor. And I was trying really hard to fit in. I'm not from Australia. I don't know the lingo. I don't know the slangs. And I'm like, okay, what are they saying? What do they mean? So when people said arvo and things like that, I'm like, smile away, go away and Google and find out what it means.
You know what? My biggest one when I moved over here was one of my friends, Chris, lovely, lovely bloke, but he is from a place local called Kalgoorlie.
Oh, yeah.
So for those that are not from Perth, there's a certain label that comes with you when you're from this sort of area. And he had this, and in fact, most Australians say it, but it's like you ask them a question and their response is, yeah, nah. And I was like, are you telling me yes? Or are you telling me no? What the fuck's going on here, brother? Give me a little bit of questions, so give me something. He's like, yeah, nah. Like, dude, come on, talk to me. What's going on here? What am I missing? But it's hard. It's like, they're speaking the same language, but they're not speaking the same language.
I'm hearing it. So that's what happened with me too. Very similar. And then I started understanding the culture and things like that. And this person, she used to be this gorgeous, wonderful lady one day. And the next day she used to be really grumpy and moody, and she used to snap at everyone. And I got really fearful of that. And there's a lot of background to it because of the childhood trauma I experienced as a child. So I used to be really scared on authoritative figures and anyone who raised their voice. So I would do my normal thing and just get into a shell and not speak up. So the first time around when this happened, I just went into a complete shell because I didn't know anyone in Perth back then. I just got married. and I was exploring life. Everything was new. And I remember standing in the train station and crying. Like, I felt so lonely. I felt like I didn't have anyone around me. And it was so busy, I literally got pushed into the train. And I was looking at everyone, and I thought people were constantly judging me. They were doing their own thing when I look back, mind you. But I felt so cornered, alone. And the word that comes up is helpless. I went back home and I said, I don't want to work here. And my husband was like, no, you need to speak up. You need to speak up. But that was a real fear. Speaking up was a real fear. Now I understand where that's coming from, and I help my clients, deal with that and overcome it because it's come from whatever they experience in their childhood. 0 to 7 years are really, really important years for us. Those are our imprint years, and those are when we're gonna. That's literally our blueprint, and that's where we decide our beliefs, what we believe about ourselves, about the world, our filters, our patterns, our behaviors. And to undo that after 30 years is not easy.
Yeah, 100%.
I tell you.
I'm with you on that one.
So, and I kept telling my husband, no, I really don't want to work here and I want to leave. And I started looking for another job, and I immediately found another job, and I resigned. And my husband kept saying, you need to fight back, and that you shouldn't allow other people to do that. I just didn't know how, because psychologically I was shit scared to do that. Now, fast forward, I got into this company. I was really excited. As I said, mining industry. Everyone's like, oh, Australia, Perth, mining is the best. So I got into that place, and things were actually fantastic in the beginning. I loved my new manager. And after I had delivered ARIA, lots of changes happened. I was working part-time and doing a full-time role, working from home. It's nothing to do with the company or anything. It's me not having strong boundaries. It's me not speaking up. But these are the things I can say as a coach looking at my younger self. But back then, I was just miserable. I would not say no. I would say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And then get really pissed off that can't they understand? Can't they get it? Can't they get it that I'm working so hard and it's so much and they're not doing anything about it? I would ask for, I did speak to my manager and say, look, we need another person, etc. But I didn't pursue it. Like once I would say it, and for 6 months, few months, not 6 months, few months, I'd be like, I've told her already. Doesn't she get it? And lots of projects were happening. Things were changing really quickly. It got to a point where I felt I was constantly making mistakes at work. My self-confidence was freaking out of the window, mate. I had no confidence. I didn't even have confidence that I can do that job, let alone another job. I thought I was hopeless as a mum, and I was a bitch as a wife. I needed help because I had severe anxiety. I was into depression. I didn't know that back then. I had panic attacks. Now when I help my clients through when they have panic attacks, I'm like, holy shit, this happened to me. I just didn't know that back then. And I didn't even know, I should have sought help. I didn't.
Yeah.
And I just felt so alone. I just isolated myself. I remember days and nights where I could not sleep, where thoughts were constantly going on and on in my mind, thinking about what's going to happen at work. And there were lots of things that were happening at work. Gaslighting, spreading rumors about me. And I'm not saying it was just mine. There was a lot of things that was happening, which is the tall poppy syndrome. I don't want to go into details of what happened there, but these are real experience people experience, and it is true for them. And that's one of the messages I want to spread too, that if they are facing it, it's not just going on in their mind or, it is a reality. It is true. And what they feel in their head is true too, in terms of everything they experience. All they need is help. Where someone can support them through this and help them. I felt I was just not supported in any way. Like, I felt like nobody understands me. Not a single person. My parents started speaking to me. My husband did. But I just did not feel that I could be myself. And there was a point when... Oh, there were so many points, but there was one point where it was Christmas time and my husband and my daughter were sitting in the pool. And I got into the pool and Chinmay was like, just relax, just have fun. Just let go of what's happening. I'm looking at them and literally looking through them. And my thoughts are just going on, oh, the company's against me. They want to fire me. They want to get rid of me. All sorts of negative thoughts, which I couldn't even articulate those thoughts. When Chinmay was like, what's going on? Talk to me. I was in so much of extreme fear. That was when I hit rock bottom. Because I constantly cried. I took everything personally. Everything anybody said, I took it personally. That something's wrong with me. I almost felt like I was going a bit crazy. And then I took some break and I went to the doctor. The doctor said, I'm fine. Just take some time off. I didn't have the courage to speak up at work to say what's going on because I didn't trust. Trust was a big thing.
Yeah.
And from there, I went to the career counselor. Then I started doing coaching. I started learning about human behavior, how things work. I really wanted to know what's going on. What goes on for me? Why does this happen to me? Why does this happen to others? And I, at that point of time, all I wanted to do, was help others. I'm like, I didn't want, the way Suhani was alone, I didn't want others to feel that. That was my main reason I started on my journey. But what turned out is I started doing my own inner work.
Yeah, I guess it's when you're forced into that situation, that feeling to want to help it's a good distraction away from your own things that you've got going on, right? It's like you want to go and help somebody else, because if you are helping someone else, first off, it feels good to help other people. There's no getting around that. It always feels good to help other people. But it's when we do it when we're in a negative place, it comes from that, like, I just want to focus on other people, because then for the moment it means I don't have to focus on my shit, and it means I don't have to focus on my pain. And don't get me wrong, doing things for people and that is a beautiful thing. But I don't know how did you end up falling into the pattern of like starting to heal yourself through that?
I think when I started coaching, learning all about coaching, the first part was, remember I told you we went to the 3-day workshop with Joe Pane, and he did an intervention between me and my husband. There was a lot of anger built up against each other, and because I never spoke up, I'd just keep quiet and then be resentful. That's a pattern I had. And when he did this beautiful intervention where literally he made my husband hold space for me, and I could express myself fully, openly of how I felt. I don't think it was a great experience for my husband. But I think that was the first time I opened up and spoke my truth. And by the end of it, my husband hugged me. And it was the most heartwarming thing I'd experienced. And then he got my husband to speak his truth with me. And I was there, you know. And that's something we do even now. It's actually a great intervention.
Yeah.
With partners, lots of stuff builds up over time. And that's the good way to release. So that was one of my tipping point. And then I started learning about coaching, and I started coaching as well. And I got coached. Lots of limiting beliefs, lots of patterns I let go of. Literally, making mistakes was a big thing for me. I changed that part. And then I've never been spiritual per se. Like I've been a party girl all my life. And when I was growing up, my mum is quite spiritual, and we used to go to these retreats in India, and that's when I actually first time I experienced like a white light entering to my body and this eternal inner peace and oneness and things like that. I'd completely forgotten about that. And this one time when there's a lake near my house, and I walked to the lake, and I was speaking to my coach, and she said, "What's coming up for you?" And that's when the abuse I experienced as a child came up. And I just could not speak up and tell her what happened. And she said, "You're safe. Just tell me what's going on." And I shared my truth for the first time openly with someone else.
Wow.
And I broke down. That was like a big dam opening up. I cried for hours. I'll tell you one thing, that the peace I felt after that, literally the same thing, the light going through me, that calmness, the chatter in my head just calmed down. First time I experienced birds chirping around me, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know, when people used to say, you know, feel the wind on your face, and how good is that, and listen to the birds, you know. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It doesn't make sense, because the mind chatter was so loud. My inner voice was so loud back then, I couldn't hear anything else. And that was my tipping point. And slowly I started speaking up at work. I complained against my manager. Then lots of things happened. Management shifted. Things changed. Things were good in the company, but I knew this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And mind you, Joey, I've not been like a high achiever in studies. I was in school, but when I started coaching, I used to wake up at 3 a.m. and coach, study. I used to stay back till 12 o'clock. And people used to, like my family used to say, I think you need to calm down and relax.
Yeah.
It's the other thing I want to share is, when you like something, when you love something, you don't need to be motivated. You're just inspired. You just go and do it. You just live it. You find out more. You get curious. And it just happens. You don't need to be forced, or you don't have to say, oh, thank God it's Friday again, or happy hump day, or it's the weekend.
Yeah.
I don't feel any of that anymore, because I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like, obviously, like with, you know, well, just to dial it back a little bit, like when you were, you know, really in this state where, you know, you were feeling really trapped and really anxious with everything that was going on at work, and you know, you when you were talking about, I think it was at Christmas time when your partner was telling you to let your hair down and just let it go, like, what was sort of things that were showing up for you in, like, your, obviously this was brought on a lot by your work life. How was this, like, being represented in your home life and with family and friends and things like that?
Oh my God. Look, it affected me a lot. The thing was, I felt everyone was against me, even my husband. So I used to fight a lot with my husband. And I felt really let down by my friends. They did the best they could. They were like giving me advice, and they were like, maybe you need to, what's the big deal? Like, things like that. And I used to take that personally. I'm like, you have no idea what I'm going through. You're not here for me. Those are narratives and stories I was telling myself, that I'm alone. Nobody understands me. And I just felt I was not supported by anyone. And nobody could understand what I'm going through.
So I think this is it's a common theme for a lot of people, like, suffering. I don't want to say abuse, because I guess the word abuse can be construed in many different ways.
Yeah.
But it's a torment.
Yeah.
It's it's when you break it down and look at things, it's you that's abusing you with the things that you say to yourself, and it's like you said, people can only do the best that they can do. Like, not everybody is a spiritual guide or a wizard or some form of some form of support mechanism that can give you the gold, like your Mr. Miyagi's kind of, or Yoda's and things like that. Not everybody has that capability, but this is what we tell ourselves and we think for ourselves, is like, because we have emotional connections with people, like, I've got an emotional connection with my wife, my friends and things like that. When we're going through a bad time, we just expect them to fucking sense it. And then maybe they do sense it, and maybe they go, hey, bro, you okay? Or, hey, is everything all right? And you go, yeah. Then we expect them again to break down that, into try and figuring out what it is. But we put all this emotional, like, responsibility onto them.
Yes.
To try and help you figure this out. And, because they don't really know. They just, how many times have you as a person gone, hey mate, you all right? And they've gone, yeah, I'm okay. And you're just gone, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then you just get on with the rest of your day, because we're not spending our entire day trying to look for, is he okay or is she okay? And it's like, oh, how did they say that? What were the sort of the body language like? We're not doing that as people. If we ask someone a question, we usually take the first answer as, they're doing okay. Obviously, as the closer you are to a person, you will notice subtle differences, and says, you sure, is there anything you want to talk about?
True.
But it's that question, that question that digs beneath the first layer and goes, hey, is there anything you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Most of the time, and I've been through this myself, we will say, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's the first response, because we want to say something, but we're just not in the right space or the right frame of mind to open up at this point in time. So then the person goes, well, okay, I don't want to push you, I can see there's something upset. They don't say this, but, this is the sort of back chatter that goes on. And then we go, man, they really don't care about me. And it's not that they don't care at all. They cared enough to ask you a few questions to see how you were doing. But because that connection wasn't made and you weren't able to release, we've put that on them.
Yeah.
And it's their responsibility to do that. At the end of the day, it's our choice to shut down and to respond to the question as, no, I'm okay. I'm dealing with things okay. And for the most part, people will have to accept that, because at the end of the day, your best friend or your wife or your partner or your husband, they don't want to see you hurt. They don't want to see you cry.
Of course they don't.
So they don't want to prod too much, because at the same time as well, they don't want to get the backlash that may come with it. And we know how bad that can be sometimes. But this is the thing. It's our emotional responsibility to take control of this. And I know this might sound hurtful and painful to people to hear, and it's like, why is it my responsibility? All these people are doing these things to me and saying these things to me and treating me this way. And it's like, yeah, people can be assholes.
Yeah.
People really can be horrible. But what do you want? Do you want to live like that? Do you want to live in this space where you're feeling horrible all the time? Start with that question. Just make it easy. Yes or no?
Yeah.
If the answer's yes, then okay, that's your choice. That's your emotional choice. But if the answer's no, ask yourself another yes or no question. It's like, do I want to grow and move out from this space? Yes or no? If the answer's yes, then ask the next yes or no question. Just start simple. It doesn't have to, like, I think and this, I'm only speaking from personal experience here, but when we're in this space and when we really feel inwardly tortured and it feels like there's no way out, because we're feeling so trapped, we think it needs some like superhero like force to break free from it. So when we look for these little questions that we're asking now, you know, to me, like that little question, it doesn't have the superhero like force to break free of this thing, so we disregard it. Because what we think, because this cave, this whatever it is we feel trapped in, it needs something explosive. So that's all we're looking for. We're looking for that something explosive to try and break free from it. But it doesn't happen. You know, we're you know, as much as I would like to believe I'm Captain America, and as much as my wife would like to believe I'm Captain America, you know, I'm not, and I don't have those powers. But what we can do, and the power that we do have, is to keep things simple.
Yeah.
And just to ask ourselves simple little questions that can help just slightly switch our change of thought. Yeah.
Beautiful. That is absolutely true. And in that moment, we don't ask ourselves those questions. We always go into why me. We go into blame and victim mode. The other thing I want to add to what you just beautifully explained is we don't share things with others because we don't feel safe. That's where the psychological safety aspect comes from. When we don't feel safe, we don't share stuff with other people.
Keep going. Sorry, I think there's a slight hiccup with the old mic.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
is it mine or yours?
Keep going.
Okay. So, what was I saying about psychological safety?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to feel safe in order to share with other people. The best thing we can do as well in this place is, if any of you are going through bullying, abuse, or anything where you don't feel safe, the first thing I would recommend you do, this is what I have for myself too, is create a safe place in your home, where you can, in your home or wherever it is, it could be in your garden or it could be on the beach, where you're alone, where nobody's around you, and you can be present with your thoughts and journal them out. Because lots of things are going on in our head and we can't articulate them most often than not. The best thing to do is journaling, like how you just shared. When you journaled your stuff, lots of things came out. So that's one tip. The other tip I'd like to give you is, if you're in a space, workplace or at home, where you're experiencing this abuse or bullying, whatever it is for you, create a safe space in your head through your mind's eye. Walk away from that conversation if you need to, and focus on your breath. Bring your attention to your breath. That's the best and the easiest way I have personally experienced to make that shift. Getting out of your head and getting into your body. And just focus on 3 deep breaths, deep and slow breaths, which will bring you to a state of at least functioning.
Yeah, I love the journaling part. I think it's, I mean, obviously I do it, so of course I love it. But the way I think it helps the most is, we can spend hours on Facebook.
Yeah.
But we can spend twice as long in our own head.
Yeah.
You know, asking thoughts, going through thoughts. What did this person do? What did that person do? What if this? What if that? What's going to happen to me if I don't do this or don't pay that bill? Or, you know, if I oh my God, I forgot to say something to this person. What's going to happen? What are they going to think of me? And you can even hear in my voice the emotion that's building up, you know. And the best thing about that for journaling is it stops being in your body and in your head, and it's out in the world. It's a first step of acknowledgement into making something valid or not valid. So if you can write something down and you look at it and you go, oh my God, is that what I really think?
Yeah.
You can see the absurdity behind it. You can have a good laugh about it, and you can go, wow, okay. Because we do have thoughts, and, you know, a lot of people would identify these thoughts as being slightly crazy. They're not. It's just that we think them, and then we think something else similar, and then we think something else similar. Now all we've got is a train of these negative thoughts that are going around. And as soon as an incident happens, like let's say bullying or, you know, some workplace confrontation, we add a hurricane to that train.
Yeah.
So now we've got a hurricane and a train going around at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
Is emotional catastrophe. So if you can get that out on paper, it's like breaking each little bit down and saying like what's each piece of the train, and what is this hurricane? And once we can see that, it becomes less emotional. Because it's on a piece of paper now. It doesn't become, it's not ours anymore. It's just this. And it removes that emotional attachment. And the breath work as well is fantastic. This is something I, you know, in my talk that I did at Christmas, it's something that we're not taught as kids about how to use our breath properly. You know, it sounds very easy to say, or just go and walk away and take a few deep breaths to bring you back to the present, because it's the most truest possible thing.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't be more right about that. But it's the fact that I would say a lot of people would push that away and say, oh, I don't have time for that. Even though it's literally 20 seconds worth of something where it's like, I don't have time for it. It's not that we don't have time for it. It's we just don't understand the education and the reason why behind it enough to go that, well, it's like, why do you go to the pub at the end of a hard work day to have a beer? So you can calm down and feel better.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Exactly right. You've nailed it.
Yeah. It's just taking that moment away from you know, you don't need to do it right in that moment, but to take a moment at the end of the day to go and have that moment to yourself, to sit down and breathe, that is something different other than going and having a beer. It's a way to de-stress and to calm down and to bring the body's level of stress and anxiety down a notch or two. Because all we ever do as human beings, like thoughts, are literally just a collection of things that have happened to us in the past.
Yeah.
And then we try to then portray them into what could potentially happen into the future. Thoughts don't exist in the present moment. Thoughts don't exist now. It's all future or past. So if we attached emotion to it, it becomes past. And then if we start to think about the future, now our future is full of negative emotion. So if we can just take a moment to breathe, we can realize that all we're doing is thinking about the future. And all we're doing is trying to weigh it up against the past.
Yeah.
And if we can realize that, we can realize, well, the future doesn't actually exist yet. So it's only me that's making me feel this way.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty that taking a moment to take, you know, to do a little bit of breath work is why it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, do you have a particular pattern that you use for clients or for yourself, for example?
So with my clients, I always start off with breath work. So we come to a state of calm and we have more clarity on what we're going to work on in that session. And most often than not, I end with breath work as well and future pacing. I do very simple, deep breathing techniques where they literally breathe in through their nose into their stomach. And if they're not able to do that, I get them to place their hands on their chest and their stomach so they can feel the
It's okay. I don't know what that was.
So they can feel their breathing is going the right way as well. And we keep focusing on it. And if there's too much stress and tension, then I get them to do a lion's breath by the end of it. So opening your mouth wide and breathing out loud.
Yeah, it's a really nice, like, breathwork is amazing. Like, I've not really delved into it deep enough personally.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, there's a reason that yoga focuses so much on the breath.
Yeah.
There's a reason meditation work focuses so much on the breath. you know, you might listen to this and think, oh, you know, well, that's yoga's just for yogis and meditation's just for monks. But, you know, it's, yeah, yogis do yoga and monks meditate. Yeah, it's the real truth, you know. But it's, meditation is becoming a lot more common now, which is so cool to see. Like, you're seeing meditation, like, things pop up all over the place. Like, they got the Calm app, you've got the Headspace app, which are kind of making meditation cool. And, you know, yoga isn't just for yogis anymore. You know, you're getting all these, like, hybrid forms of yoga that, you know, are appealing to men, that are appealing to mums, that are appealing to your girls that love to go out on the weekend. You know, it's not just for the people that are, you know, like to make pants out of hemp. You know?
Look, coming from a partying girl who loved drinking parties and all of that, I would have not in a million years thought I would get into meditation and breath work. But that is my go-to. Honestly, I love it because it brings me to a state of calm. It brings me to a state of peace. And when you come from a place of, when you are in a place of calm, when there's no that, you know, inner chatter, thoughts, etc., then you can be present for others too. You can be present for yourself. And it feels so good. You don't feel like, oh, I don't have energy through the day, I need to go sleep. I literally do meditation and go to sleep. I get better sleep when I do that. Yeah. So for all you folks out there, give it a shot. It's totally worth it.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Would you be comfortable doing a 5-minute meditation?
Like guided meditation?
Yeah, to guide me through one right now.
Oh my God. Okay.
Keep it nice and simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Okay, let's go for it.
Look, I'm not experienced at this, but I'm going to give it a go, okay?
It's okay. Good practice for the future. That's just the mic for you. Okay. There you go.
Okay. I want you to completely relax. Ground yourself. Spread your legs. Yeah, perfect. Your palms are perfectly placed on your thighs, facing downwards. Have your back erect. Perfect.
There you go.
Yeah. Close your eyes for me. And just focus on your breath for now. Take a deep breath in through your nose, into your belly, and breathe out through your nose. Next time when you take that breath, breathe deep and slow. And breathe out deep and long. That's it. One more time. Take a deep breath in into your belly. And breathe out slow and deep. This time when you take a breath, notice calmness entering into your body, filling in your body. And as you breathe out, notice all that stress and tension melting away and disappearing. One more time. Inhale calmness. Exhale whatever you want to let go from your body. And now I want you to drop in and check in your body. Where do you feel restricted, or if there's any stress or tension in your body. Notice that part of your body and share it out loud if you feel like. Go on and take another deep breath. And as you breathe in, notice your eyes getting heavier. Notice your forehead and temples relaxing. Just notice your jawline, your nose and your mouth. Bring in attention to your neck and your shoulder. And continue breathing deep and slow. Notice your arms and your chest. Bring in attention to your solar plexus region. If there's any tightness, breathe in deep and slow and release it outside. Inhale calmness. Exhale through your mouth. And continue scanning your body onto your back where you're sitting. Your legs, your knees, your thighs, and your feet. And notice how calm and relaxed you are right now. One last time, take a deep breath in and relax. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes.
Damn. I don't know whether any of you guys were following along with that, but I am chilled out right now. But that was a little mean of me to put you on the spot like that, but it just felt right.
Yeah, it did.
It just felt right to give you that opportunity, because I know this is something you want to delve into with clients and recording your own meditations and stuff. So here you are. There's your first one.
Thank you, Joey. Joey again. God.
That was very mean.
No, all good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but look then, and that's the beauty of it. It was like, how long was that? Like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes?
Don't know, I didn't count, but definitely less than 5 minutes.
It was. That's how much like short of a time it takes to just bring a little bit of peace. Like, as you were saying, the beautiful. I love meditating. Like it's great, And like, as you were talking through my face and everything, it's like as soon as you mentioned my temples, I could just feel a little tingling against my temples. And as soon as you mentioned my eyes, I was like, oh, tingling. So good.
I could see even your like face. When we were talking, it was all constricted and, you know, with the expressions. But as soon as you started meditating, I could see that relaxation like shift in your face and your body language.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy. It's a lot easier for me to get into that space if I've already meditated previously. Like I do my meditation in the morning, but
did you?
Yeah, it's that. I mean, that's how simple it is. You know, with the type of people that come on here, especially the coaches, we talk a lot about meditating and we talk a lot about breath work, but this is the first time I've had the opportunity to invite someone to take us through it. So it's pretty cool. And just to prove to people how short of a time you really need. It's not, you don't need to go and, you know, check yourself into a monastery and shave your head and sit there for 3 hours.
Absolutely,
you know,
not.
It can be just a few minutes just to literally just center your breath and check in with yourself. And I think it's a really, really beautiful thing that you're doing, Suhani. Like,
thank you.
Being able to add this is obviously going to be another little bit of a game changer for your clients, which is great. And obviously, like if people have connected to this story and to what you've shared today, and you know want to get in touch for some advice or some help or support, is that's something that's okay for people to do?
Absolutely, I would love to help. As you know, that's something that really lights me up, and that's what I want to do. Help others heal their past, and so they can move on and live a beautiful life inside out.
That's lovely. And they can get in touch with you on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Right? Yeah. So we'll pop those links in the description in the podcast, so you guys can get in touch. But to be honest with you, I just feel like I want to go for a nap. But no, it's been beautiful to share in your story and have you here, and you know, to receive the vulnerability that you gave us today on today's show. It's a beautiful thing when people want to share from their heart to help other people. So I can only offer you thanks and gratitude for that.
Thank you so much for having me, and it's the same feeling I have for you too. And this is the first time I've actually done face-to-face, and it's so much fun. It's so much more fun.
It's better, the energy in the room's better.
Because we're literally looking at each other and talking to each other. And you are one person, which I've said before in the past as well, who holds that space for any human where they can share this story and speak their truth. So keep doing you. That's all I can say.
Why, thank you. I will. But it's really great to hear people like yourself share and things like that. And I'm always loving to have more and more conversations with people, and you know the door is always open for more conversations. If things change in life, and you know we want to have a chat about more things you've learned and more experiences and any more stories that we're going to share in the future, my door is always open for another episode too.
Maybe I'll come back.
Yeah, thanks very much, Suhani.
Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode of Naked Reality, and a massive show of gratitude to our guests who got naked about their mental health stories today in the studio with us. Also, a big thanks to our sponsor here for 2020 and 2021, getsome.com.au, providing some amazing supplements from Origin Labs all the way in the USA and supporting our military veterans. Stay tuned for this important announcement. For anyone listening that's in need of any support for any reasons for their mental health, please contact Beyond Blue on 1300 224636. Or for the ages of 12 and 25 years old, Headspaces at 1-800 650 890. Or for the ages of 5 to 25, Kids Helpline on 1-800-55-1800. Or if you're in need of any immediate support, please contact Lifeline on 131114, and they're available 24/7 for those in Australia.
If you are looking for any more numbers, if you can visit healthdirect.gov.au/mental health lines. There's a lot of numbers there for specific topics. And also on our website is onu, that's o-nu.com.au/mental-health-support-lines. We have a list of phone numbers and contact details for many of the main areas around the world. If you are in need of any support, or you do know someone that this would benefit, please share this around to anyone you think may need it. Thank you.